The Afcon is soon upon us, people, and now we can have the match day 1 predictions video. And of course, with every match day 1 in international tournaments, it is so key to get off to a good start, because then match day 2 becomes an absolute must win. We got some good games. We got a derby, of course, between Senegal and Gambia, so I want to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. Remember to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new around here, and let's get into the predictions. So of course, the first game is the host Ivory Coast going up against Guinea-Bissau. We know Guinea-Bissau are a tough team. They're not going to be destroyed in this game, even though they lost their last game 6-2 in a friendly against Mali. Ivory Coast beat Sierra Leone 5-1 in January as well. So I think for Guinea-Bissau, all right, I didn't watch the game and I don't know what was the starting lineup for them. You know, testing out new players. All right, let's try out some new tactics. Ivory Coast, this team is on a roll. They're absolutely on a roll. The last game they lost was Zambia 3-0 away. At home, this is a completely different team. I think they're going to get off to a great start at this Afcon, and I think they're going to win this game 3-1 against Guinea-Bissau. Then it is Nigeria going up against Equatorial Guinea. Is this going to be a tricky game where Nigeria lose? Because Equatorial Guinea are no joke. These guys now are undefeated for 9 straight games. Now, you can look at the opponents like Botswana, Liberia, and say, not the toughest opponents. Equatorial Guinea do not concede a goal. They don't. They even beat Tunisia 1-0 at home. This is the recipe for them. They will keep it low scoring and get the 1 goal. That's it. For the Super Eagles, they just lost to Guinea 2-0. Now, when you look at the lineup, very much a B team. And obviously, Victor Boniface now is injured for 6 weeks, so he's going to be missing the AFCON. I think Mofi got called up for them. It's a big miss. Obviously, it's not Osimhen, so that's not the end of the world. But, man, it's just like, you think of Super Eagles right now, it's just the mood in the camp. And I think with the mood for a majority of the fans, it's not positive. They got to win this game, though. If you lose this game, if you're the Super Eagles, and your next game against Ivory Coast, oh boy, you don't want that. You don't want that to be a must-win game, though the Super Eagles are going to win this game. I know it's going to be nervous at times. You cannot be in a losing position against Equatorial Guinea. If you are, I don't see a comeback victory. I'm going to go 2-1 for Nigeria in this matchup. Going to be tough. Next up is Egypt versus Mozambique. I think this is going to be a comfortable victory for Egypt. You know, they're just coming off a victory against Tanzania 2-0, Botswana 1-1 with Mozambique. Egypt, they're just in a groove. I think they've just kind of found the sort of starting lineup. I read that they even tried Salah in the center midfield position. I was like, okay, we're going to see creative Salah in this team. I like it. You know, obviously we see how well Omar Marmoush is playing, Trezeguet, all of these guys, the forward line for Egypt. Mozambique is a good team, but is it going to be enough to really test Egypt? I don't think so. I think it's going to be a comfortable victory for Egypt. I'm going to go 2-0. Next up, it is Ghana against Cape Verde. Oh Ghana. Now, I know Kudus didn't arrive just yet into the AFCON. He was coming off an injury, but I think he has now arrived to Ivory Coast, so that's at least a good thing, and to Ghana's camp. But they just drew 0-0 with Namibia. Namibia might be the worst team at the AFCON. That is not good. That is not good. Chris Houghton, man. Please just get these tactics right. Please allow these players to express themselves. Don't go hero ball. It's not going to work in international tournament football. You got to have a good structure. For Cape Verde, look, it's another team that don't concede a lot of goals. They don't score a lot of goals themselves. So for the key for them is, if they can get a draw, I think they'll be very happy. And knowing if they beat Mozambique, they will qualify to the round of 16. I'm not going to lie, I don't really have a lot of confidence right now in Ghana, but I think they can beat Cape Verde. I don't think it's going to be a wonderful game of football. I think it's going to be very difficult at times to watch. And I'm going to go 1-0 for Ghana. Next up is the derby. It is Senegal versus the Gambia. Now, this should be an intriguing game. Obviously, Senegal have 1-0 victory over Niger in January, and Gambia haven't had a friendly game to prepare for this AFCON. So I'm kind of intrigued to see how Gambia are going to approach this game. Are they going to be a bit more attacking? Or are they just going to play on the counter-attack and just hope for a draw? Do really Senegal have a lot of pressure in this AFCON? No, they've won it. I think this generation, no, we don't have as much pressure as compared to the last AFCON. The last AFCON, they had pressure. This one, not so much. But I'm telling you, Gambia, Minte baller, keep an eye on him. The Feyenoord player, special. He could really trouble Senegal. I don't think this is going to be a game full of a lot of chances. Gambia have conceded a lot of goals recently. 2 goals to Ivory Coast, 3 to Burundi, 2 to Congo, 2 to South Sudan. You can't do that against Senegal. You're going to have to limit them to 1 goal if you want to get any sort of points. I don't think that's going to happen. I think Senegal are going to win 2-1 this game. Then we have Cameroon versus Guinea. Now, Guinea, of course, beat Nigeria 2-0, while Cameroon drew 1-1 with Zambia, which is not the worst result. So according to reports, Onana will play Sunday versus Tottenham, and the next day he's going to play in Ivory Coast. You have got to be kidding me. Who actually approved of this in the Cameroon FA? Who approved of this? Eto? Come on, man. Girassi did come off injured in the friendly against Nigeria. So we're going to have to see his status into this game. The main game for Cameroon is, of course, getting a point against Senegal, beating Gambia. I think this is going to be a tough game because Guinea are no joke. I'm going to go 2-1 for Cameroon. The following game is Algeria versus Angola. I think this is going to be a comfortable victory for Algeria. They just got so many ballers. I think they can control the midfield against Angola. Angola, you know, a tough team. I would say it's a team where they're not going to concede a lot of goals. If you look at their last 4 games, 0-0, 0-0, 0-0, 0-0. At least they're consistent, but obviously they didn't score against Mauritius or Cape Verde or DR Congo in 2 games. So the key for Angola is get a point. I think they could really frustrate Algeria, but Algeria's quality will just come out in the end. Like the last 10 minutes, they might get a goal thanks to Mahrez or Amoura, or actually no, Amoura is suspended for this game, excuse me. I think it'll be frustrating for Algeria. I think they win 1-0. The other game in the group, it is Burkina Faso going up against Mauritania. Just looking at Mauritania as well in their last couple games, 0-0 against Tunisia, 0-0 against South Sudan, 2-0 loss to DR Congo. So it's a team that don't score a lot of goals. I talked about that in the predictions video and the ranking. It's a team that play very good at home. Neutral venue away, not so good. Don't have a lot of goal scorers. Burkina Faso, they just lost the game 2-1 to Iran. Not the greatest preparation, but I still really like this Burkina Faso team. I think they can handle this game. I think it's going to be a comfortable victory for them. I'm going 2-0 for Burkina Faso. Then we move on to Group E, where we have Tunisia going up against Namibia. Namibia, I might have called them the worst team in this Afcon, but you know what? They might play with the most spirit and with nothing to lose. There is nothing to lose for Namibia. This is a great occasion. Get some notoriety, get some respect from the rest of the footballing nations in Africa. And Tunisia are one of the best teams in Africa, in my opinion. You know, they might not play the best football, but they are contenders. Drew 0-0 with Mauritania, Tunisia, and Namibia drew 0-0 with Ghana. So if I'm Namibia, you keep this game as long as possible 0-0. Maybe in the last 10 minutes you could get a victory. Tunisia, they don't have a lot of goal scorers. They're going to control the midfield with Skiri and Laidouni and these ballers that they have. But Tunisia are a side that don't score a lot of goals. I think it's going to be a case where Namibia frustrate them. 1-0 victory for Tunisia. The other game in the group should be a lot of fun to watch. It is Mali versus South Africa. If you look at Mali in their last couple of games, 6-2 victory against Guinea-Bissau. This is a good team. Of course, with no Ibrahim Akone or Janepo, I think, or Adama Traore. This is a side where they're going to have to rely on some youngsters like Kamori Doumbia, who actually scored just 4 goals in Ligue 1 last month. He's going to be a name to watch out for. And for South Africa, they haven't had a friendly yet heading into this Afcon. Their last game was, of course, a 2-0 loss to Rwanda. But this game is where South Africa, they got to defend very well. The midfield battle is going to be very difficult for them against, Bissouma, of course, for Mali. I think this is going to be a very entertaining game. I could see it going back and forth at times. I'm going to go 2-1 for Mali. Then the final group, we got Morocco against Tanzania. Of course, these two teams played against each other back in November. It was a 2-0 victory for Morocco. The Tanzanian goalkeeper for Ziyech's goal, yeah, the less spoken, the better. That was the last game for Morocco. Tanzania had a warm-up game against Egypt where they lost 2-0. So, am I really expecting a lot from this game? No, I think it's going to be a comfortable victory for Morocco. They have to win this game. If Morocco draw this game and their last 2 games against Zambia and DR Congo, that's going to be tough. I think it's going to be comfortable. I'm actually going to go with the same scoreline, 2-0 Morocco. And the final game, it is the most critical one. It is DR Congo going up against Zambia. DR Congo, of course, their last game was a 0-0 draw against Angola, and Zambia just drew 1-1 with Cameroon. But I'm telling you, there is something with this Zambian team that is fun to watch. They're going to be very attacking, and also DR Congo are going to be very attacking with Banza and these players, Wissa. We're going to probably get a high-scoring game here. I feel like this is going to be one of the best games of the group stage. I'm hoping so. There's a lot of anticipation. I feel like it's not a must-win for both teams, but if both teams know, if they win this game, have a great chance of finishing second or even first in this group. And I think it's going to be a 2-2 draw. Highly entertaining. Well, let's see what happens in this last group stage game. So those are all the predictions for match day 1 of the Afcon. I want to hear your predictions in the comments down below. And which game are you most excited for in match day 1? Remember to subscribe to the channel if you are new around here, as we will be covering the Afcon every single day of the Afcon on this channel. And we have seen with the rankings and the predictions video, I want to thank you all for your kind support heading into this Afcon. I love this tournament. I'm always amped for it, and we're going to do the best we can to cover it on this channel. Remember to hit the like button. Have a beautiful day. Stay safe in this crazy world. And until next time, adios.
Explain